Well, it's day 2 of the Ramsey EntreLeadership Summit, a wonderful business leadership conference in Orlando, and our very own Taylor Riggs is there with Dave Ramsey himself. Hi, Taylor.
Hey, Marcus, thank you so much. And Dave, it's always so great to see you. We love these conferences.
Well,
I was speaking with some business owners on the side, and they felt like this is a little bit of a precarious moment. Lots of tailwinds, the economy feels strong, but battling high energy costs. What do you tell those business owners?
Well, I think anyone that is around economics of any kind, we need a predictable environment. And if we can project into the future, even if it's a headwind, if it's predictable, we can lean into it. It's the volatility and the not knowing what is next that throws people off balance. Because you don't know whether to hire and invest into the business, or you don't know whether to pull back and save up cash for the storm that's coming or whatever. And so if you can create a predictable environment, a law and order situation where regulations aren't pounding me, I've got freedom, then free enterprise will always flourish.
I want to talk about free enterprise. So you had a wonderful speech this morning where you talked about some concerns about this war on success, the war on capitalism. What do you tell the next generation that is really having this debate between capitalism and free markets versus big government socialism?
Well, in business, we learn to study patterns, and we learn to study best practices, meaning that we're going to look at a company that's doing something well, and we want to mimic that. And we look at a company that failed in something, and we want to mimic that. And the problem with the socialism discussion is you can't find a single example where it worked. It's just straight up stupid. It's academically ridiculous.
It's never worked.
It has never worked. And, I travel to these countries. I was in a foreign country the other day, and they said, we have free health care. And I said, it's not free, you idiot. Your taxes are 65% of your income. Of course it's not free. And so this is, socialism is great, Margaret Thatcher said, until you run out of other people's money. And so we're just having to have this discussion. But the thing at the root of it is a spiritual thing where we've declared success to be evil, or wealth building to be evil. And 89% of America's millionaires, that's 9 out of 10, by detailed airtight research, are first generation. They started with nothing and became a millionaire on their own. And so to tell them that they did something wrong is horrendous. It's a war on the word success. And so all of these small business guys in here that own heat and air companies or a veterinarian clinic or a healthcare thing, they're all in here pounding it, and they're winning, and then they're being shamed by some character who lives in his mother's basement with an iPhone that's $1,100 and says capitalism is bad.
Capitalism in this country has built AI. I think we're the leader. We're well ahead of China in terms of AI and the AI revolution. I want you to listen to a soundbite. I spoke to some other business leaders, and they felt mixed on if they were positive or not so positive on AI. Take a listen.
Sure.
So I'm a pro AI-er. So I'm the CEO. This is my wife, co-CEO, anti-AI-er, if that's a word. But I know that we have got to embrace it because it's coming, and it's coming fast. So I know that if we don't embrace it, we're going to get left behind, and I don't want it to go there. So we are implementing it little by little, and we just got to get started.
What do you think about AI?
Oh, I love it. It's a wonderful tool. What do you think about the internet? What do you think about the computer?
Does it make you more productive, though, or do we start to see layoffs because AI can replace some jobs?
I mean, you saw layoffs when someone put a tractor in the field and you no longer needed 73 people to plow the field, and you saw layoffs when we put electricity in the train engine instead of a fire. And so anytime there's a disruption in the market, people will change and readjust their careers. But it's not the end of their career. We saw layoffs around the internet. Broadcast world has changed because of broadband, right? And so, we see the shifts in this, but that doesn't mean that talented people can't still land in doing something. If you're a content producer, like for instance, we got about 1,000 team members. A whole bunch of them are software engineers. They're going to learn to manage AI, or they're going to lose their job to it. If you are a writer, if you're writing blogs, you're going to learn to manage content production with AI, or you're going to lose your job to it. But the trades are not in danger at all. They're not to have anything at all. And it's a wonderful tool. I think it's a wonderful thing.
Let's talk about the trades. Mike Rowe, of course, has been really out front and center. You've said that a lot of people here are involved in the trades. Are we doing enough in this country to talk about the importance of trades and getting away that not everyone has to go to college, that there are multiple paths of success?
You know, Mike and I have been friends a long time, and he's spoken at our conference here, and he and I are in complete alignment on this, that the trades have always been a valid option. What we had to do was get away from the shaming, and honestly, the stupidity of the student loan situation and the cost of higher ed for a 4-year degree to get a degree in left-handed puppetry they've done the biggest job of promoting the trades of anybody because they became so irrelevant. And so now you can look and say, hey, a diesel mechanic, 2 years of certification, can make $120 a year.
Not bad.
So shut up. I'm not going to spend $250,000 getting a master's degree in socialism so I can make $48,000 working for the government as a caseworker. It's just the logistics, the economics of that don't work anymore. And so the trades have been lifted up by the ridiculous movement of higher ed and put in front and center again and become valid. Thank goodness, because we need people who have calluses and dirt on their fingernails in this country. That's how stuff gets done.
I want to end on that note, on a really positive note. It's America 250. It's our big birthday this year. We're 250 years. You've talked about how this is a country where no one else can walk in and go from middle class to be a millionaire. This is the country that you can do that. What do you tell small business owners in this moment about a time of reflection, a time of really understanding what built this country? Small businesses are the backbone of this country.
Well, it's not false patriotism to observe the facts. And the facts are, in today's world, at this moment in time, right this second, if you live in the United States of America, you have the best option ever in the history of humankind in this locale to build wealth and start a business and run a business. You can start at 22 years old right now and you be a bazillionaire faster than I could have because I'm an old guy. I mean, faster than I did back then. There was no internet. All these things, all these tools are in our advantage, and the freedom is there if we don't condemn it and make it shameful to go win.
Want to celebrate success. We'll be doing that this
Absolutely.
year and always. Dave Ramsey, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
so
you.
appreciated. Back in New York, how's about that for some enthusiasm?
It's actually really enthusiastic. Thank you, Taylor. Appreciate it. You know, Brian, before I'm dying to come to you, but we took in a lot of information from Dave and Taylor. A lot of it was really good. But the one thing that I do want to correct Dave on is that, particularly for small businesses, AI is not a tool. It's not the internet, it's not a search, it's an infrastructure and it's a system. And when you look at big companies, there are going to be job layoffs because of inefficiency. In a small company, it has the opposite effect. It actually should level the playing field, giving those small folks that have finite resources around money and hiring to actually level up against a medium or large size business. And I think they need to think about it as an infrastructure and not an app on their phone.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah, it does. You can play bigger when you're a small company that's learned how to use AI. I do get what he's saying, though, in the sense that as an individual, if you're thinking about AI, you're thinking about how do I use it to deploy in more ways that create value, right? When he says, I'm going to manage the production of what AI can do, I think you're thinking like an entrepreneur, right? I have AI working for me. I have these agents working for me. How can I send them out to do things that expands the pie of value that I can create for people in the world? And I love that view. And you know Dave's always going to bring that view. Anytime you've got a problem, Dave Ramsey's saying, find the solution. That's why God gave you a brain. That's why he gave you energy. Go out and do it. Create value. Don't let the naysayers tell you that you can't do it.
Yeah.
I just think about how the left tried to kill small business in this country, but also their ability to expand and be entrepreneurial and make millions of dollars because of our system through trying to crush AI, through trying to control AI. I think, you know, no matter what context we're talking about, C-suite or we're talking about small business, there's opportunities there for people to be self-made in this country. And that just kills them. And it kills them that Trump was able to revive this growth engine for our country to give us, in the middle of a war right now in the Middle East, a stock market that just continues to soar.
Yeah, but then you have two things going on at once. You have small businesses that are able to use AI to grow and expand their businesses, but also you have an entire generation of workers who are, you know, entering the job market. And if they are going the trade route, They will not be saddled with student debt the way some of their generational peers are, and they will have far more economic mobility.
Yeah.
So you have a very tangible aspect of the economy that's being serviced with, these tradesmen and women who are filling jobs that were mostly filled by boomers for decades. And, that is the physical aspect. But when you couple that with AI, there's a lot for people to be optimistic about. And, don't give in to fear. And I think that is the knee-jerk reaction that a lot of people have when they hear about AI.
He said, one thing he said I think is so great. He said, we have a spiritual problem in America, and it's the problem of declaring building wealth and success to be evil. And I think he's so right in that. If you start with the premise that building wealth and creating value are good, you unleash human possibility. But if you start from the premise of wealth equals evil,
yes,
nobody can rise above their station life. And I love that he's always driving that message home.
Well, envy is the mother's milk of socialism.
Yeah.
exactly.
We didn't spend enough time on the trade portion of his discussion and really providing these jobs. And I'm not quite sure if promoting for higher education led to trades not actually being trained. It's what happened under the Democratic regime where contracting and manufacturing started leaving. And so as much as there has been disruption with tariffs, it may be a good way in. So
it's a great conversation because I do think the blue collar folks never got lifted. At the high school end of year auditorium celebration, the kids who got college scholarships are up on stage. The kids who are going to the trades weren't. I see us fixing that.
they're building everything now.
That's right. Yeah.